Hello, welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about captioning video calls. That's right, you can be on a video call and have it automatically, using cloud technology, caption what you are saying. Either you can see what somebody is saying to you, or they can even turn the feature on their Amazon Echo on the other end. So we're going to talk about that today, but before we delve into that too much, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Hello again, welcome back to the Echo Tips podcast. As I mentioned, this week we're going to be talking about captioning, and not just movies or videos in particular, but we're going to be talking about captioning a live video conference, kind of like Zoom, but on your Amazon Echo. First off, though, I'd like to welcome our new listeners to the podcast who are wondering, what have you got yourself into? We'd like to welcome you to the Echo Tips podcast, where we have little nuggetized episodes where we talk about new features on the Amazon Echo. Sometimes we dust off some of the old goodies that are really kind of cool, or maybe some new features they've added. And my name is David Ward. I'm the host of the show, the assistive technology instructor for the New Vision program at Goodwill, based here in Southwest Virginia in the United States. So we do have a lot of international listeners, so I thought I'd put that in there too. So it's good to have all of you with us, and for our returning listeners, good to have you back as well. And at the end of the episode, I'll mention some ways y'all can reach out to me with ideas, thoughts, suggestions. You guys got questions? We'll try and find answers. I don't know if we're quite like Radio Shack, but we'll try and find the answers if we can. And who knows, maybe we'll have a mailbag episode. Okay, so let's delve right into this. Unfortunately, I can't really do a demo because, captioning is kind of a visual thing. It's showing the words on the screen. But nonetheless, pretty cool feature. And this is there's a host of actually captioning features on the Amazon Echo Show line. So there's a host of different features, as I mentioned, related to video content, movies, shows you might want. And you'll find those options to enable that capability on the same place that we're going to find this feature. But this feature has expanded as of the May roundup. I am waiting for the the June roundup to come out with new things that were released in June. That hasn't quite happened yet. So I'm still delving back to a goodie that I kind of missed from the May roundup on the A-Lady blog online. And this is a neat feature, and it's been available in English for a while, but has now expanded out into various other languages. So what happens is when you do a video call from an Echo Show to, say, another friend that has an Echo Show, you can enable this feature on either end so that you can see the words of the person talking to you on the screen. And so now, before, this was obviously in English, and I believe it was available in Mexico, Canada, and the United States. But now it is broadened out to support other languages other than just English. So it's including Spanish now, French, and as well as Portuguese, it looks like. Languages are now available. And this is available in Brazil, Canada, Mexico, and the United States. And so those are some of the options I believe they're available. So where would you find this feature? Well, on your Echo Show, you might know and have encountered this before in past episodes, that you can't find all the same settings inside the A-Lady app on your phone or tablet. You actually have to interact with the device. So if you have an Echo Show and you want to eyeball where this feature is, you walk over your Echo Show, swipe from the top down, whoosh, and you'll get this panel that'll come up. You want to hit the settings gear. Now, conversely, you can just say, A-Lady, open up settings, which is what I do because I'm kind of lazy like that. And it pops right up. You're going to scroll to the very bottom of the list, and it's about, I think, the second or third option up. You're going to hit on accessibility. So accessibility is a category where people with different types of disabilities, could be visual, could be auditory, things like that, can go in there. Now you're going to go under the hearing section, and that's where you're going to find all these closed captioning options. Now, most of them are tailored towards video content like TV shows and stuff you would watch, so that they can automatically pull that captioning. But here's where it gets kind of cool, is this new feature, which is call captioning, and you want to enable that feature. Now, you might notice in there as well, and it's going to prompt you, and as I say, it's going to have to do this cloud processing because it does it up in the cloud, your conversation, and that's how the transcription service works, basically. And then it's gonna filter that back down to you. Now, one of the neat things in here too is you can change the captioning, the font type, under captioning preferences. You can change the color of it, the background color, the color of the actual font, the letters. It defaults, it looks like, to a white lettering on a black background that has practically no opaqueness, so it's not translucent anyway, although you can adjust that a little bit as well. And for me, who I have a visual impairment, you can also change the size of the font as well to be like super jumbo large, which on my Echo 10 here in the classroom is probably pretty close to like a 36-point font or something. I would say it's somewhere in that neighborhood, but it's a pretty good size font on screen, and with that white lettering on a black background, it really pops off the screen. So I did conduct an experiment with my my mother this morning using this feature, and she conversely was able to turn it on her end pretty quickly. We had to end the call and reinitialize the call for it to come up on hers, and there is like a legal disclosure at the beginning of any call that says, hey, by the way, your conversation is being sent up to the cloud and being transcribed, basically. But yeah, it's pretty nifty. So that might be something to think about. This kind of jumped out at me because recently I had a phone conversation with somebody with our New Vision program that had a vision impairment, but also was pronouncedly deaf, not quite entirely deaf, but very, very limited hearing capability. And she had this fancy telephone device at home that would actually allow me to say stuff on my end, and it would show it as print. It would caption it on her end. And we had to almost communicate that way entirely, which I had to kind of like pause and let the system catch up. But this system is designed by Amazon, is almost designed to work almost in real time. There is a little bit of a lag. I couldn't really tell the lag too much, but I think the harder bit is that we talk in such elaborate ways, right? That the text is popping up so quickly on the screen and then having to be replaced by what's being said next, that it would require you, and undoubtedly if anybody who's done this, it would require you to kind of change your conversation style a little bit, have more breaks and pauses, shorter sentences and things like that. But it was pretty cool, and the font was huge once I blew it up really well with that white lettering on a black background. So if you have somebody, a family member or a friend, who maybe is dealing with this or really enjoys captioning, maybe if they can't, maybe they missed a word or something like that, this might be really handy. I have some friends that I know that have family members that are finding it really difficult to communicate over the telephone and things like that. But this might be a way that they could talk to their grandkids or different things and still, be able to make sure they catch all the parts of the conversation. So just kind of really cool, neat feature, something to check out, and that will bring this episode to a close. But as I mentioned before, if you'd like to reach out to us with thoughts or suggestions, feel free to do so. Oh, I forgot to mention too, this looks like it's predominantly connected with the video functionality. Now, on my Echo Show, I can place calls to friends that have Echo Dots and things like that, where it's an audio call, basically. but it's using the same service. I don't know if this captioning works with that. I kind of doubt it based on everything I'm reading here. It looks like it's kind of earmarked for the video component, but it would be something worth to try out, and it couldn't hurt to try. And I'm actually going to try it later today when a student calls in for a class. But yeah, interesting. It does look like it's predominantly video oriented. But, it may be possible to integrate it with some of these just pure audio calls. Maybe if there's an echo dot on the other end or something like that. Definitely worth trying. Okay, all right. Well, if you'd like to reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter, you can do so at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and we'd really love to hear your feedback. Additionally, you can reach out to info@goodwillvalleys.com. Any ideas or suggestions for future episodes, things like that, we'd appreciate that. And we really, really appreciate your support, and feel free to tell friends and family about the show. Give us a 5-star thumbs up in the podcast player of your choice. We really appreciate that as well. All right, well, it's time to get your echo out, start practicing some of the many things that you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. Let me tell you a bit more. Let me put on my official sounding voice. Ahem, ahem. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Phew! Thanks for listening.